Ever start a cartoon and get hooked, only to have it end before you even knew how it would finish? Some of the most unforgettable shows from our childhood never got the endings they deserved, leaving fans with cliffhangers and questions that still spark debates today. From lost treasures to epic battles that stopped mid-story, these forgotten gems were robbed of closure. Check out the description for the old DVDs, hit that super thanks, and let's revisit the cartoons that should have had an ending, but never did. Cartoon number 1, Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors. Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors first rolled onto screens in 1985, a time when Saturday morning cartoons were a battleground for imagination. At first glance, it looked like another toy commercial in disguise. Shiny vehicles, colorful heroes, and impossible gadgets. But it quickly revealed itself to be far more ambitious. The show followed Jayce, a teenager with a legendary ring and half of a magical root, as he led the Lightning League, a team of humans and their living vehicles across the galaxy. They weren't just racing through space for thrills. They were on a mission to find Jayce's father, Audric, the brilliant scientist who inadvertently created the monstrous monster mines. These weren't your garden variety villains either. The monster mines were living, sentient plants capable of spreading across planets with sprawling interstellar vines. And leading this green menace was Sawboss, the very first of the monster mines, a terrifying and intelligent antagonist whose ambition to conquer the universe set the stakes sky high.
You were lucky today, boy. I will destroy you and your root the next time we meet. For the preservation of the Black Light, I go!
The premise was deceptively simple, but the story was surprisingly layered. A mix of sci-fi adventure, family drama, and intergalactic warfare, all wrapped in the veneer of a toy line promotion. Sawboss wasn't just a mindless monster. He was a villain born from tragedy and accident. Audric, Jayce's father, had tried to create a plant that could end starvation across the galaxy. But a nearby supernova transformed his creation into a series of dangerous plant-based beings. Sawboss emerged as the first of these, commanding legions of monster mind clones with ruthless efficiency. Each clone had a purpose: Saw Troopers, Gun Grinners, Terror Tanks, KO Cruisers, and Beast Walkers all carried out the expansion of his green empire. Against him, Jayce and his friends had more than just courage. They had ingenuity, teamwork, and vehicles that could talk back. The ongoing plot threaded through 65 episodes. Jayce's quest to unite the halves of the magical root and defeat Sawboss while simultaneously searching for his father. It was the kind of story where every battle, every new vehicle, and every encounter with a monster mind expanded the universe in ways that kept kids glued to the screen. And yet, for all its clever plotting and inventive sci-fi, the series carried a secret tension. It would never fully deliver the ending it promised. This is where nostalgia hits a bittersweet note. Mattel had commissioned the show to sell toys, and while the animation and story exceeded expectations, the toy line did not. The series was capped at 65 episodes, and despite building toward a climactic finale, the show was cut short. Writer J. Michael Straczynski had even drafted a movie to wrap everything up. In his version, Jayce would finally meet Audric.
Between now and Free Day, the month of the star, I will be at this place. If you find this in time, my son, you will find me here.
The Lightning League would meet its legendary predecessors, and a final showdown with Sawboss would unite the magical root to destroy the monster mines. But poor sales of the toys meant the film never got made, leaving the story hanging in mid-air. Viewers were left with a sense of incompletion, watching Jayce drive across the stars with hope in his heart, but without the satisfying closure every story deserves. For a show that had done so much to build its world, the lack of resolution was jarring. And then there was the mystery that broke hearts. Jayce never found his father. Audric, the man whose genius and mistakes had started the entire conflict, remained missing. The Lightning League battled Sawboss episode after episode, but the personal quest, the one that gave emotional weight to every conflict, was left unresolved. Fans were left to wonder, where was Audric? Would he return? Could the magical root ever be reunited?
I feel almost naked without the root, but Gillian's cylinder has protected its life force from the effects of the night moon.
The series finale offered action, thrills, and even small victories. But the central question remained unanswered. It's the kind of cliffhanger that keeps people talking decades later, inspiring fan theories, imagined endings, and debates in online communities about what could have been. Even today, it's a defining element of the show's legacy, a brilliant story paused indefinitely, suspended in time. The fact that fans still argue about the ending is a testament to the show's lasting impact. Online forums and social media threads light up with theories about Audric's fate, Sawboss's ultimate defeat, and the mechanics of the magical root. Did Audric survive in a hidden part of the galaxy? Was Sawboss truly invincible? Or was the root the key to his downfall? Even without an official ending, Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors continues to captivate imaginations.
Jayce, he's here. He found my message. I must find him.
Nostalgia is a powerful thing, and the unresolved narrative fuels it. Kids who grew up with the show now revisit it with the perspective of adults, noticing details and story arcs they never could as children. And every rerun, every DVD release is an invitation to relive that suspense and wonder. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Many fans don't realize the show wasn't just a French-American production. It was an international collaboration with Japanese animation studios like Sunrise, Shaft, and Studio Giants handling the animation. This gave the series a look and feel far ahead of its time, with fluid vehicle movements and imaginative creature designs that rivaled anything else on Saturday morning TV.
Lightning strike!
Then there's the writer angle. Straczynski, who would later become famous for Babylon 5, wrote a quarter of the episodes, trying to inject depth into what he called a dopey toy concept. And he wasn't alone. Writers like Larry DiTillio and Barbara Hambly also contributed, bringing real narrative ambition to a show born from commercial intent. As for the toys themselves, the Lightning League vehicles included a stack and attack gimmick, allowing kids to mix and match parts to create new vehicles. But this feature was never fully explored on screen. Later toys were even redesigned to match the cartoon characters more closely, yet most never hit shelves. So many fans only knew the vehicles from the show, not the store. And the music? Composed by Chaim Saban and Shuki Levy. It's the kind of heroic, unforgettable theme that instantly sparks nostalgia for anyone who grew up watching it. All of these details remind us why, even decades later, Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors still lingers in our memories, a show that felt bigger than its toy line. But if you thought that ending was rough, this next show takes unfinished storytelling to a whole new level. Cartoon number 2, Pirates of Dark Water. The Pirates of Dark Water went all in on a dark, epic story that few kids' shows dared to attempt. From the very first frame, it was clear this wasn't your typical Saturday morning cartoon. The world of Myr was not bright and cheery. It was ominous, strange, and full of peril. The seas themselves weren't just water. They were filled with dark water, a sentient black liquid that devoured everything it touched. It wasn't just a backdrop, it was a looming, unstoppable threat that turned each episode into a race against time. And at the center of it all was Prince Ren, the rightful heir of the fallen kingdom of Octopon.
Ren! Maelstrom off the starboard bow!
Noise you tot! By the 2 moons, we can't outrun them!
Unlike many heroic cartoon leads, Ren carried the weight of an entire world on his shoulders. He wasn't just collecting treasures for fun or glory. He had to save a planet, and the danger was real. The show didn't shy away from this intensity, giving kids a story that was both thrilling and surprisingly heavy for a Hanna-Barbera production. And Ren wasn't alone in his journey. He had a ragtag crew that felt more like a found family than a predictable sidekick ensemble. There was Tula, the ecomancer, whose mysterious connection to the planet and its creatures added layers of intrigue and raised more questions than answers in almost every episode. Then there was Ayaz, a treasure-hungry pirate whose snark and scheming initially seemed selfish, but over time revealed a heart capable of loyalty and sacrifice.
Chongo Longo, but we can lose them. Make for that fogbank off the port bow. Hard to port, Niddler.
And who could forget Niddler, the quirky monkey bird whose insatiable appetite for Minga melons often stole the spotlight while still proving indispensable in moments of danger. This trio, combined with Ren, made for a team that felt alive, with real conflicts, humor, and moments of growth that went far beyond what other cartoons of the era dared to show. The quest itself, the search for the 13 Treasures of Rule, gave the series a narrative backbone that was both compelling and frustratingly incomplete. Each treasure promised not just power, but the salvation of Myr from the encroaching dark water. By the time the viewers reached the shocking end, only 8 of the 13 treasures had been found, leaving 5 critical pieces of the puzzle unresolved. The show didn't ease into its conclusion. It stopped abruptly mid-story, leaving viewers with a haunting sense of what happens next. Imagine being drawn into a world that feels so vast, so meticulously crafted, only to have the door slammed shut before the final act. Fans argue to this day about what the true ending could or should have been, piecing together hints from production notes, interviews, and their own imaginations. It's the kind of unfinished story that sparks endless debates, fan theories, and heated discussions in online communities.
Maybe that old man wasn't just spinning tales.
What did you say, Ayaz?
I said this ship might need our help. Ren, pull alongside.
You might be right. We'll take a closer look.
Behind the scenes, the story of Pirates of Darkwater is almost as dramatic as the show itself. Originally, it began as a 5-part miniseries called Darkwater, intended as a test for audience reception. But the ambition didn't stop there. After seeing the rich world and potential of the story, Hanna-Barbera expanded it into a full series, giving the team both new opportunities and new headaches. The production costs were staggering for the time. Each half-hour episode reportedly cost around $500,000, nearly double the standard budget for a Saturday morning cartoon. Each episode included roughly 12,000 animation cells, a volume that demanded intense labor and meticulous attention to detail. These expenses, combined with tweaks to animation quality and broadcast changes from Fox Kids to ABC and then syndication, created a perfect storm that eventually doomed the series. Yet, despite these hurdles, the animation and character designs remain remarkable, with watercolor backgrounds and fluid action that make the show feel like a visual feast even decades later. One of the most interesting aspects of the series was the ship designs. Ren's ship, the Wraith, wasn't just a vessel, it was almost a character itself. Built from mystical trees whose life force lingered in the lumber, the Wraith seemed alive, responding to its crew and behaving almost like a sentient entity. Meanwhile, Bloth's warship, the Maelstrom, was a terrifying floating fortress made from Leviathan bones, complete with a labyrinth of corridors, holding cells, and the monstrous pet Constrictus lurking in the bowels. These ships weren't just props, they reflected the scale and danger of the adventure, showing that Pirates of Darkwater treated its setting with as much care as its characters. Speaking of villains, Bloth was one of the most intimidating antagonists in 90s animation. Towering, brutal, and utterly relentless, he wasn't just a cartoon pirate for laughs. He was a serious threat, capable of orchestrating complex schemes and inflicting real harm on Ren's world.
You must change course. The son of Primus has gone that way.
And how would you know that, Morpho?
The dark water told me.
And then there was the Dark Dweller, an almost Lovecraftian presence, whose reach extended through his serpent Morpho. These antagonists added stakes and tension that made every treasure hunt feel urgent. Even minor characters, like Conk or the Lug Brothers, were memorable, adding personality and flavor to the crew of the Maelstrom. The voice cast only added to the richness of the world. With George Newbern as Ren, Jodie Benson as Tula, and iconic actors like Tim Curry, Peter Cullen, and Frank Welker rounding out the cast, the performances elevated the story. Kids didn't just watch characters, they felt them. From Niddler's mischievous chatter to Bloth's booming threats. The series even swapped voice actors for Niddler between the miniseries and the full series, a small but intriguing change that fans still notice and discuss. And then there are the production quirks that make the story even more fascinating.
What genius told you to do that?
King Primus.
Smart move. Very smart.
Did you know that the series doubled its episode count after starting as a miniseries? That means a story originally designed to be concise suddenly had to expand, often leading to pacing challenges and incomplete arcs. Or that the animation budget made it one of Hanna-Barbera's most expensive projects at the time? Yet, despite the money and ambition, the series couldn't fully recover from its broadcast shifts, leaving it stranded after just 21 episodes. Even today, the DVD release of the complete series serves as a bittersweet reminder of a show that almost redefined animated adventure, but never got the chance to finish its epic tale. What really makes Pirates of Dark Water unforgettable, though, isn't just its unfinished ending or its expensive production. It's the way it balanced darkness and hope. Kids watched the show and felt real stakes, tension, and occasional heartbreak. But they also saw the power of friendship, loyalty, and courage. And while the story of the remaining treasures remains a mystery, the debates it sparks keeps fans engaged to this day.
I'm afraid no amount of Borka paste is going to keep us afloat, Ios. And we have too valuable a cargo to go down with the ship.
The 7 treasures of rule. Lose them, and our whole world is sunk.
Which treasure would have been the hardest to find? What would have happened if Bloth had collected them first? These questions turn every viewing into a chance to imagine and discuss, a testament to the depth of the world Hanna-Barbera built. But believe it or not, the most frustrating unfinished ending was saved for last. Cartoon number 3, Thundarr the Barbarian. Thundarr the Barbarian dropped viewers into a world so wild and untamed that you couldn't help but get hooked. Imagine a future Earth, hundreds of years after a runaway planet smashed through the moon and changed everything. Cities you recognize, New York, Los Angeles, Mount Rushmore, lie in ruins. Rivers glow with strange colors, and the moon hangs broken in the sky. It's a planet rebuilt from chaos, a savage mix of sorcery, super science, and mutants. And right at the heart of this chaos rides Thundarr, a barbarian warrior wielding a magical sun sword.
We passed Cordon on our ride here. She did not see us. She and her pirates are preparing for attack.
Joined by the powerful sorceress, Princess Ariel, and the lion-like warrior, Ukla the Mock. Together they roam this shattered world, battling evil wizards, monstrous mutants, and cosmic horrors while trying to bring some sense of justice back to a planet gone mad. What made Thundarr the Barbarian so remarkable, and what still gets fans talking, is how much it inspired future cartoons. Shows like He-Man and Silverhawks borrowed its epic post-apocalyptic tone, while later action cartoons and even video games took cues from its mix of swordplay and magic. But Thundarr wasn't just flashy battles and weird creatures. The series touched on surprisingly mature themes for a Saturday morning cartoon. Slavery, oppression, the destruction of civilization, and the struggles of rebuilding a broken world were woven into the narrative, giving the show a sense of weight and danger you didn't expect from animated heroes with spiky hair and swords made of light.
Ukla, it's Ariel, and Thundarr. We're your friends.
They lie. Only Kallax are your friends.
Kids might have loved the action, but adults could see a darker, layered world hidden behind the vibrant animation. And what a world it was! The villains were terrifying and inventive. From evil wizards who reanimated machines and twisted magic into weapons, to the Brotherhood of Night, a gang of werewolves who could curse people by touch, to cosmic predators like the Stalker from the stars. mutants of every shape and size roamed the ruins. Rat-like groundlings, crocodile-like carrax, hawk-like humanoids. And animals were transformed in shocking ways. Giant green snakes with bear heads, fire-breathing whales, mutant rabbits and dragonflies. Thundarr's enemies weren't just scary, they were the kind of creatures you wouldn't forget at night, even if you were supposed to be asleep. Princess Ariel's magic and Ookla's raw strength often saved the day, but the threats reminded everyone in this world no victory was ever guaranteed.
I know, old friend. The creature has escaped with Mina. After them!
Behind the scenes, the show had an incredible creative pedigree. Comic book legend Jack Kirby contributed to the production design, giving the villains and landscapes a cinematic, larger-than-life feel, while Alec Toth designed the heroes, creating iconic, instantly recognizable silhouettes. Steve Gerber, the creator of the series, brought a comic book sensibility, mixing high adventure with complex storytelling. And here's a fun fact most fans never knew. The name Ookla came from a casual dinner conversation between Gerber and writer Martin Pascoe, who quipped it while walking past UCLA. It stuck, and the character became one of animation's most memorable sidekicks. Writers like Pascoe, Buzz Dixon, and Mark Jones ensured that every episode had creativity and inventiveness, even if the network didn't always appreciate it. Yet, despite its imaginative world and loyal fan base, Thundarr the Barbarian ended abruptly. ABC, looking to make room for Laverne and Shirley in the Army, canceled the series after just 2 seasons and 21 episodes. There was no proper finale, though plans existed for an ending where Thundarr and his friends would finally confront the ultimate evil behind the wizards and bring lasting hope to the post-apocalyptic world.
Magic could succeed where your science failed, but I would expect something in return.
Name your price.
That together we make mankind and other wizards our slaves.
Scripts and storyboards hint at epic battles, heroic sacrifices, and revelations about Ariel's past and Thundarr's origins. But none of it made it to the screen. Fans have debated for decades what the true ending should have been, and fan fiction, comics, and even upcoming Dynamite Entertainment releases continue to explore those possibilities. It's a rare example of a show that leaves so much to the imagination, inviting viewers to create their own conclusions about how the story should have ended. Even merchandise embraced the legend. Action figures of the 3 main characters arrived decades later in 2003, and board games let kids play in Thundarr's universe. There were comics planned, some by Jack Kirby himself, and even a Sunday strip that never went to press. This world was big, exciting, and unfinished, something that made it feel alive in a way no neatly wrapped finale could. It's a testament to the show's enduring power that musicians, writers, and fans still reference it. From metal bands naming albums after it, to TV shows and comics drawing inspiration from its characters and stories. What makes Thundarr the Barbarian unforgettable isn't just its post-apocalyptic chaos, terrifying villains, or the mystical sun sword. It's the way it asked viewers to imagine more.
Ookla and I once escaped the Citadel as fearsome as this one. And we'll do it again. All of us. And Ariel.
Every week, kids watch this trio ride across a shattered Earth, fighting impossible odds, and they were left with questions. Who would survive? Could the heroes truly defeat evil? How would the broken world be restored? And when the show abruptly ended, those questions didn't stop. They only grew louder. Fans continue to debate, to speculate, and to create their own endings. The magic of Thundarr the Barbarian is that even decades later, it feels unfinished in the best possible way, leaving a legacy that no proper finale could ever contain. So which one hurt the most? Lightning League left stories half-told, Pirates of Darkwater stopped after 8 treasures, and Thundarr the Barbarian never got its finale. These shows sparked our imagination, but left us hanging. Which cartoon do you think deserved a real ending? Comment your favorites, share your fan theories, and don't forget, you can pick up the complete series on DVD to relive the adventure and see what we missed. Until next time, thanks for watching.